Hello and welcome to another video. So today we're going to be talking about Hydroid, who recently had his revisit released on console. Hydroid is currently, in my opinion, a frame which doesn't have any real identity and use, and is very confused and conflicted. There's a lot of frames in this game who have problems, but these are literally tiny little things that can be changed. However, Hydroid's not one of those. Hydroid's one of those where his inherent kit and his design is not good. So let's go over why, and then we'll go over his revisit, shall we? And some suggestions and improvements that I would do for Hydroid. I'm going to try and get this done as quickly as possible. First thing, we're going to look at his first ability, which is an AoE. It's damage over time. Damage over time abilities in Warframe are a bit inconsistent. There aren't many. There's only a couple. It does mediocre damage, if I'm honest with you. And it's very hard to get it to do any like real good damage consistently. Mainly because it spreads out in an area and it hits like that. I think it's okay as an ability. It does have a knockdown, but it isn't good in my honest opinion. It's alright for our first ability, which it's nothing special though. Next up we have Tidal Surge, which is you turn into a tide and you dash forward. This is very terrible. Inherently, because you have bullet jumping, wall running, etc, etc, there's no reason to have a move like this that gives you that sort of mobility, because honestly it's not useful, because there's lots of stuff everywhere. There isn't that many long sight lines that can make use of it, and it's not honestly worth the 25 energy you use, or however much energy, to travel that far. I think his 2 needs to be completely changed, if I'm honest with you. Then we have his 3, which you turn into a puddle. You can currently move about very slowly in the puddle and cast the other 2 abilities without much trouble. So you can cast your 1, you can also cast your 2, and you can move the puddle, which is not useful but nice. It allows you to move about and get out of danger, which it's alright, but it's not great. His 3 does damage over time. It will basically suck stuff into it that goes near it. So it will join into the puddle and basically take damage, and unfortunately you can't actually damage anything that's outside of here easily most of the time, which makes Hydroid's only sort of CC very frustrating to play with. Like, very frustrating to play with. I haven't seen anyone who honestly thinks this is a good ability outside of being able to AFK interception missions, but even that got nerfed. They reduced the range significantly, so they knew most people were using that mainly, and they reduced it, but they didn't really give him anything much in return. Being able to cast abilities while inside the puddle is nice, but you can't fire your gun. You can't damage stuff that's inside of it, and it doesn't solve the problem of it. You can move with it, but it costs energy, and you don't have the biggest energy for whatever. And then we have his 4th ability, which is the other useful ability that he did have. You cast this, it spawns a bunch of tentacles, which then give you more loot. They have changed it so they are more, well, they're smarter, and they do slightly, I think they do about the same damage though, but they are smarter, which is nice, but it's not fantastic. That also at default has a very small range, same with Undertow. It used to have a much larger range, but they reduced it. So Hydroid's rework they have reduced his range. They gave him the ability to use his 1 and 2 and use his 4 in his 3, but they didn't really give him much else. That's literally what it did. The biggest problem Hydroid has is all his abilities are pretty meh, and together they have meh. So yeah, what they need to do honestly is they sort of half did it, where they changed his base stats. They gave him higher armor, and they also gave him higher shields, which is nice, but they need to honestly go further. What I mean by this is the energy pool needs to go up significantly. If you look at Hydroid's energy pool, default we have what, 150. That honestly needs to be 300, maybe 400. It needs to be significantly higher. With prime flow, that's 450, 425, which for someone who wants to, apparently in DE's eyes, use abilities while in Undertow, isn't like that much. Like it's not that much at all. In fact, I'm going to strip away my efficiency and just show you how much that will actually give you. Yeah, we'll do that. Just to show you how many abilities you can actually cast off. Please note this is no efficiency. So. And you can see Undertow uses a lot of energy, and if you're doing this, you're going to go through a lot of energy very quickly. And we're out of energy now. And that's not that many abilities, and you don't really get much for it. So you need efficiency now in order to make him useful, which does limit his builds quite significantly. Also, you can't build range anymore because they nerfed the range on the 3 and the 4. So you are pretty much pigeonholed into a certain playstyle now, which I'm not sure was the goal of the rework or the quality of life changes. I honestly would change the 1. It's okay. I would make it so it's soft CC, so it's, I don't know, it's a wave. It knocks people over. It does like 1 wave, 2 wave, 3 wave with an augment or something. Or it does that when you have an ability active, so you can use it as hard CC. I would change the 2 completely, so I don't know, make it so it's a air of effect hard CC. Make it so his 3 is soft CC as a puddle. It puts it down, it slows enemies. You could do something like that, but you can still damage them, and Hydroid can also jump into the puddle and make himself immune, and then he can move along, like dash into it by, I don't know, he might have like, when he goes into the puddle he might then have like a dash, and then he can like move away. That might be cool. So he has 2 functions on his 1 when he's using his 3. His 4, I would honestly revert the range nerf to it and change it so it doesn't ragdoll stuff so violently. And I would also make it so it has more range and it only spawns, I don't know, one tentacle or 2 tentacles in like the floor, or it spawns stuff on the floor, because the problem you have with it currently is it does that, and trying to hit something while it's doing that is incredibly hard to do. So they need to make that less like ragdolly and make it so it grabs it and just holds it, as well as doing damage. That would be nice. Another problem I think with the 4 is it doesn't grab multiple enemies. That might be a good idea too. Those are honestly the suggestions that I have for Hydroid. I don't know, like, augment wise how I would change them. I think his barrage augment would be good if it was a wave, because it gives him a corrosive proc. His free augment, which is undertow, I think heals teammates. I wouldn't mind if that was default. And then his augment did something else, and his 4 was alright. And I think his 2, he gains, like, he removes status effects from allies. That would be good if that was inherent on his kit, because then you'd have a like CC frame that had supporting capabilities but did some sort of casting damage. That would be nice, but right now there's honestly no use for him. His brother Frost is significantly better in that regard. He has armor stripping, he has a stun, he has the ability to protect things, and he has a higher energy pool. In fact, let's actually have a look how big Frost energy pool is, because I'm slightly curious. Is it more? Oh, Frost energy pool is for 150. Oh, I thought it was more. What's it maximum? 125. Huh. Well, maybe Hydroid needs reduced cost then. Especially if they're going to keep him in his current state. He honestly does have. He needs reduced cost, because all of these are just too high. Like significantly too high to cast. Anyway, there's my suggestions and feedback on Hydroid. I don't think the revisit changed anything. I think it nerfed him. I think it gave him a couple quality of life changes, but they're very minor, and they haven't changed his position at all. If anything, I'd say he's in a slightly worse spot than he was in. So there you go. Thank you for watching. See you again next time. And I am aware there are a couple bugs currently with this revisit that haven't been fixed yet, but they still are irrelevant, honestly. So thank you for watching. See you again next time, and bye for now.